require commitment and buy-in. A lot of cities use teams. They put together a IRP team that will be included to make sure these goals and objectives and the measurements are handled and produced, so that somebody's always monitoring and following through to follow up on these programs. And you also have to have buy-in by the public. You have to submit you have to publish it, put it on the web page. You have to take their comments in and consider their comments in the overall planning process that the IRP is recommending. Some technical things, you have to do some load forecasting. We do that on basically an annual basis. We look at our future loads. We project out our demands and energy requirements, and so that part of the piece of the puzzle is already accomplished. But some of the measurement statistics and other ways to go about explaining that you're meeting your objectives and goals will have to be developed. Like I said, they require an annual review, and we have to submit that within 30 days of our plan anniversary date. As David indicated, the KMEA had submitted a joint IRP proposal that got rejected by Western. The plan date was April 1st, 2014 is when we were supposed to have had it in. They gave them 2-month grace period. May and June, actually, April was a grace period to begin with. Then they gave them an extension for 2 months to submit their, for each city to submit their own plan. We were supposed to have ours done by July 1st. Obviously, that did not happen. So we wrote a letter to them today asking them to extend us for another 2 months, or another 4 months, actually. We asked them to go through November 1st. They notified us today that maybe they can give us 2 months, July and August, and they still give you a 30-day grace period, September, to get the report in. So generally, you've got 90 days to finalize it. We still have some timing issues. We have to take things in front of the council, post it for public comment. We're looking at October 6th as the earliest that the council can act on it, and we'll probably won't get things to the Western probably till the middle of October. Would be a good guess for when we're going to try to get this project completed. What we need from you guys tonight, and I'm going to try to be as brief as possible, but we need some, this is the process I just went through that we're going to be going through over the next 60 days. We're going to come back to you guys on your next meeting, August 6th, I think it is, or 3rd, whatever the, do you have any idea, the 3rd or the 6th, something like that? 7th? 7th. Okay. We're going to come back to you with a document, a draft of programs that meet the objectives that we're going to try to set up this evening, along with the supply side of things that we will have developed, along with the next agenda item that you're going to see, which is the KMEA power supply study. It actually will dovetail well into the IRP process, since it's the supply side. We can focus more on the demand side and let KMEA handle the supply side of the IRP. And so we will come back to you on the August meeting with proposals on programs that meet some of the objectives that we're going to try to establish tonight, and be able to tweak it at that time, and then get it to the council by the, I guess it's August 20th, 21st meeting?
Yeah, I kind of just like
sure.
Through
the schedule.
The tentative schedule, or the schedule we're trying to hit. Obviously, we'll be back to you on August 7th. Then our next plan will be to go present the draft after you all have reviewed it again on September 2nd. Open the public comment period from September 3rd through the 13th, and then on the September 15th City Council meeting, receive public comment by the about that draft. So we'll be receiving comments by email or phone or letter, and then we'll also provide one last opportunity for the public to make statements to the council. Whether it will just be a simple public comment period or a public hearing, we haven't quite come to those details, but there will be an opportunity. After that, we will take all the comments received from you, from the council, from the public, put together a final draft of the document, and then the soonest we can get back to the council for action would be October 6th, assuming everything is, can very quickly be put together. We've been talking about how to comply with Western. It may be such that once we have our final but not adopted draft, we'll send that in and say we're going to have final action on the 6th. But that's about the tightest schedule we could meet with all the requirements that we have to put it together.
Sure. So, a couple of questions. The 90 days would be October 1st. So what issues do we have by being in 2 weeks after that?
Well, what he told me today was that they want to stay consistent with what they provided all their other customers, which is a 60-day extension. And he said, normally after the 60-day extension, we give a grace period of 30 days to get the thing in. So which that would put it at October 1st. After that, they can implement a penalty against you for missing the time frame. I have no idea what the penalty is. I'm assuming it's loss of power. Would be my guess that you lose some of your electricity. But I think, as David indicated, if we send them a draft, a non-adopted draft in September, they'd be hard-pressed, I would think, of not allowing it to kind of go through the process and finalize, especially if there's not much changes between the draft that was submitted and the adopted plan. And one thing I wanted to make sure I covered was that they provided us an abbreviated IRP form, okay, which allows us to not have to do an IRP that is comprehensive in the extent that it is very, very detailed. Ours is going to be limited. We're going to try to limit our focus because we're committing to certain actions over the next 5 years. And so I want to try to suggest things that we can implement and then we can accomplish, but doesn't expose us to financial obligations and staffing obligations and other obligations that we didn't think about. And this is our first IRP. Every 5 years you have to do one, and you have to give annual updates, as I indicated, through this 5-year period. And then at the end of 5 years, you renew it again and give them another updated analysis of what you're doing to conserve energy and integrating your supply side and your demand side programs. So those are, I want to try to limit our exposure, and so we will do that. That's when we come back with recommendations. They're going to be recommendations for programs that I think that we think will be able to be implemented within a 5-year time frame and not be too costly. A good example is energy audits for homes. We can have them 2 ways. You can do them where you provide information on how each resident does their own, okay? Or you can hire a company that charges, let's say, $125 a house. And then you can subsidize that or make the customer pay all of it if they want to do it. So it depends on the array of how the funding is available to do something like that. And so the point is that when you think about commitments on demand side management, there's a budget constraint possibility in addition to implementation constraints that you need to pay attention to. Let's just kind of talk about objectives, because that's really what I'm trying to get at in your group tonight, is think through what kind of things you would like to implement or goals that the city might try to obtain. I've given you some broad objectives. Increase the energy efficiency of the city. That's a kind of a broad objective, okay? Reduce energy costs. Everybody would like to see their costs reduced. You can see these objectives up there yourself. Promote economic growth with improved environmental quality. They are intimately focused on the environmental impacts of supply. So we're gonna have to address that in our supply